Alright, YouTubers, today I'm going to do a video on anti-gunners. And I usually don't do these type of videos, kind of like pinpointing a certain faction of the population, but you know what? It's time to do it, because the fact of the matter is, it is getting tiring that we are always being told that, oh, well, we shouldn't be allowed to talk about guns all the time, and that we're imposing on other people's rights. And okay, we're imposing on other people's rights. When you start to hear things like, you can't do that because it makes someone else uncomfortable, where does that become law? Since when does someone being uncomfortable precede my rights? Okay, so this all came about because of a video on another YouTube channel that we have, which was totally unrelated to guns. It had nothing to do with guns, the video, but of course an anti-gunner came across that video and they spotted one thing out of the 50 million things in that 8 or 10 minute video that they could have noticed. That was the only thing they noticed, and of course they had to comment on it. So I did a little response to them, and the first time I did kind of answer, but let me go through the response. To all the anti-gunners, the answer is, we don't owe you an answer. I am so tired of self-righteous anti-gunners demanding answers from people that are doing nothing more than exercising their rights. We gun owners are so used to defending our rights and our position that it almost comes natural to answer questions the anti-gunners continually ask us. Not only that, but we're constantly preached to about educating anti-gunners. That's not necessarily the truth. Sometimes it's time to step back and just give them a different answer. Well, I've had it. I am not answering or justifying or anything else on why I choose to carry a gun or why I choose to defend myself rather than putting my life into the hands of a stranger that doesn't know me and therefore could not possibly care for my life more than I do. What started this rant, as some would call it? One more anti-gunner asking me the same question yet again. Why am I carrying a gun? Really? Do I ask you if you feel it necessary to breathe? No, I don't. Although I wonder if the oxygen is really making it all the way to your brain since you keep asking the same questions. I have several YouTube channels. One of them is about homesteading. We do reviews and some other general homesteading stuff in the videos. And in this video in question, we were actually at our cabin deep in the middle of the woods. And I do mean deep in the middle of the woods. Like, call 911 and it would take them 3 weeks to find you in the middle of the woods. We were doing the video on a Harbor Freight portable solar panel. Of all things to see and hear in this video, some anti-gunner notices that my husband Ronnie is wearing a gun holstered on his hip during the video. Now mind you, it was cold outside when we did this video, and Ronnie was also wearing a coat which obstructed the view of his gun that much more. So this person had to be looking for something or to be just trolling for something. The inquisition started like this. Is that a gun you're wearing in the video? No one needs a gun except police officers on duty. Now, I'm not kidding you. That is actually what the person said. And out of habit, I answered back, yes, that is a gun he is wearing. We are in the middle of the forest and there are snakes and wild hogs, etc. Then comes the part that set me off. The person replies, you gun nuts always have an excuse as to why you need to have a gun. Snakes, yeah right. Have you ever heard of a shovel? Really? I don't know where this person came from, but where I came from, if you don't have to, you don't fight a snake with a dang shovel. Especially not a rattlesnake. But anyway, Nitty says, you are right outside of your cabin. If you need help, you can just call the police. I was seething mad at this point and almost responded again with something like, call the police? I'm in the middle of the forest. I'd be dead before the police would arrive if I was lucky enough to be able to get a cell phone call out. Because half the time it doesn't work unless you happen to be standing in a particular spot. But then I said, no, I will not respond to this person and give them a reason why I am carrying a gun on my own property or any other place for that matter, as long as I am doing so within my legal rights. You see, the problem is we're so used to defending ourselves against these nuts that seem to think bad things only happen to bad people. They believe that if you're raped or murdered in an alley, that would be better than if you had carried a gun and saved your own life. I live just a couple of miles outside of city limits. And because of this, the city police do not, which are actually only a couple of miles from me, don't respond to the location where we live. Instead, the sheriff's department responds to where we live, and they're based 26 miles away. Now, they have patrol cars, but they're responsible for an entire county, so you can only imagine how long it could take them to respond. The results of this are when an armed home invasion occurred to a couple that lived just down the street that I know, the police took 45 minutes to respond. Had the homeowner not had a gun, most likely him, his wife, and his 8-year-old daughter would not have been around to tell the story. By the time the police came, the homeowner had the two invaders held at gunpoint. I kid you not. But all of this is even irrelevant because I have a God-given right to protect myself, a constitutional right to protect myself, and a will to protect myself. I need nothing else. I need no reason, no objective, no rationale, no nothing except the will to do so. I don't attack people on a daily basis for thinking that someone else should be responsible to care for their lives. Do I attack these people who think it's okay for someone else to die in their defense, but they're not willing to do so for themselves? How does that even make sense in their own minds? I'm serious. At what point did it become that we have to defend ourselves and our rights on a daily basis from those who willingly choose not to do so? If you choose to die at the hands of someone who chooses to do harm, either with either a gun or an object, do I have the right to argue that stupidity with you? Do I have the right to demean you because you choose not to protect yourself, your wife, or your children, but you would rather leave it into the hands of strangers? A stranger that neither knows them or cares for them? Would you leave it to a person that no matter what their intentions may not be able to respond in the time and fashion that you and your family may require at that given moment in your life? No, I do not. I simply say to you, you must live with your choices just as I must live with mine. It is not for me to decide if you anymore, it is not for me to decide for you any more than it is for you to decide for me. We are all given free will for a reason. Some use it better than others, but it is not for me to decide for you. So from this point forward, I will not try to convince you why I chose to defend myself, nor will I try to convince you why you should defend yourself. I will simply say the answer is, I don't owe you an answer. So I hope people start shutting these people down. We need to quit letting them control the situation. We don't owe them an answer. End of discussion.